I don't normally do talking head videos. I normally like to just kind of create content and just share that for people to enjoy and that sort of thing. But I want to do something slightly different this time because I actually have people who ask me a lot of questions regarding the little intricate things that kind of go into photography. A lot of times you just buy a camera, you get a lens, maybe you have a flash or something like that, and that really is what you need to get started. You got to have a camera, obviously, and you got to have a lens somehow to focus that light. But there's a lot of other little things that kind of go into shooting photography, I guess we'll say at a professional level. And professional really is just nothing more than someone who gets hired to do these things. And sometimes if you do stuff for commercial work, like a business, then there's a lot of little things that they ask of you that you kind of got to be prepared to be able to do. And some of those things that you don't really realize, you may just take for granted, are the little accessories like batteries. And what I want to talk about today is I want to introduce a type of battery that you may have already heard about. It's been out for a few years. I believe it started off as a kind of a Kickstarter type of project, but now you can actually order them. And I was really intrigued by seeing these that I wanted to get some and see if they would be worth having in my camera bag or maybe even replace my batteries in general. So when you go out and you buy batteries, usually photographers and really most people, they depend on either AAA or AA batteries, especially AA batteries. It could be, it's in your mouse at your home. It could be in your keyboard. It could be a battery backup for a smoke detector. There'll be a lot of different things you can use these batteries for. And as you buy them, they kind of feel like they're expensive. You could be spending 8, 10, 12, 15 bucks on a package of batteries and you think, man, those aren't cheap. But when you consider how long they last and really what you depend on them for, they're really a very invaluable thing to have. And so this is a typical AA battery that you could buy. This is an Energizer Max. You buy it, you use it. When it's done, you can literally just throw it away. They do consider them safe to kind of go into the earth. The next battery is an Energizer rechargeable battery. These batteries are pretty nice. They cost a little bit extra money. They do take a very long time to charge, anywhere between a few hours and all the way up to 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, depending on what type of a charger you have and what type of battery it is. These batteries hold probably similar, maybe slightly less charge than what these batteries do. And the real big difference between these two that you really don't notice, and a lot of people who use it for maybe their tech gear don't realize, is the disposable AA batteries are 1.5 volts each. Okay, so that's pretty much how much power it can provide to the devices that are using it. Rechargeable batteries usually are actually 1.2 volts. Even though they look the same, they're the same size, they may have decent capacity, even be the same as far as how much power is in there to use for duration, but the amount of voltage available to your devices is actually only 1.2 volts as opposed to 1.5. So only 80%, which is actually quite a bit. Now, for most things, you're never going to notice a difference. To be quite honest, you're never going to notice a difference if you put it in a smoke detector, you put it in your keyboard, your mouse, or anything like that. But for photographers, we can notice that difference because we depend on them in things like these speed lights right here you can see from Canon. When we put them in those, sometimes they take a little time to recycle, so that when we're taking a shot, it's waiting a second. Now, when you see these red lights, that indicates that it is ready to fire off, and that's what we have to pay attention to as we're taking pictures of our subject. The nice thing about some of the cameras are if the photos aren't ready to go off, it just simply won't fire the flashes. It won't do it halfway. It's literally when it's ready, it'll fire. When it's not ready, you're going to either have a dark frame or you better just hope for a lot of ambient light and things like that. So it really comes in handy for photographers to have that extra voltage so that it can recycle our flashes quicker and we can be ready to shoot the next shot. Now, to be quite honest, when I'm going to go do a shoot, I prefer to use the regular alkaline batteries because they do have that extra voltage and they seem like they're always ready to go. Now, those batteries, same with rechargeable, are not designed to last super long. They last a fairly decent amount of time if you use them very conservatively or responsibly, but they don't handle temperature extremes very much. I live in a state where summer times it's going to be over 100 degrees quite often, and during winter it's going to be well below freezing. And a lot of technology that's used out there is not designed to be used outside of that range, mostly because of the components inside, but also the batteries that power those things. And if you've ever shot anything in the cold, or you've ever used a battery in the cold, you notice that it actually starts to lose its power a lot quicker. And that's just an unfortunate reality. And it really is actually the same for the heat and things like that. So what I wanted to do is I kind of want to talk about this new battery I came across fairly recently, and I bought some and I tested. I kind of put it through the ringer, and I've actually been fairly impressed. And it's called Pale Blue Earth is the company that makes it. And these batteries here are lithium ion batteries. Now, to give you an idea, Energizer does make a lithium ion battery. The only bad thing about those really is that they are not rechargeable. They are literally a one-time use. And lithium ion batteries, you should never throw into the trash can. So unfortunately, when you deplete those batteries, you should actually take those to a lithium recycling facility. You can find them in all different kinds of places. One of the places, in fact, the place I go to, because I know they do it and they don't charge, it's just literally drop them off, and that is Home Depot here in my hometown. And so you got to take those there and you got to drop those off. Now, those batteries do last longer than these other types of batteries because they have a little bit more of a charge to them, and they're also very consistent with the way they provide power. If you've ever flown a drone or ever done something that depends on power to always be there, lithium batteries are great. They, from 1% to 100%, they provide basically the same amount of power. So when you're flying a drone, that's obviously very important, because you don't want at 10%, when you're trying to get that drone back to land it, you don't want it to all of a sudden be like, hey, we don't have enough power, and then it just starts falling out of the sky. You don't want that. So that's why they have to use that type of technology. And the unfortunate thing is the technology is the kind that you don't want to put back in the landfill, and you want to get those recycled. And also they cost quite a bit more money than batteries of similar size that are with other technology. But these batteries here are also lithium ion batteries, but these, what makes them really cool is they're actually rechargeable. You are going to pay for that, but you're going to get a lot more life out of it. Now, the Energizer lithium ion batteries are 3,000 milliamp hours, around there, I believe. And these are only 1,500 milliamp hours. Now, obviously, the simple math is these have half the capacity as those batteries do. So really, you would have to charge these twice to get the same use as you would out of those other batteries. Okay? So after 2 charges, 3 charges, 4 charges, after you use them for a little while, these batteries become much cheaper. These essentially will one day be pennies on the dollar if you use them dozens, even hundreds of times. They claim that you can charge these batteries up to 1,000 times, maybe even more. And so if you do that, 1,000 times, use for a $6 battery, that's almost nothing. I mean, that's really impressive. And what also makes lithium ion batteries very impressive is when you use them, you can't even tell that the battery power is going down. The total capacity is actually going down. And I want to demonstrate that today. What I want to do is I want to use these 2 speed lights here. And each of these lights are fully charged batteries. And this light right here, the one furthest from me, are the Energizer rechargeable batteries. And this light right here are these new Pale Blue Earth batteries. And if you look on here, you can see this red light. That red light is indicating that it's ready to fire off. So when I turn on this speed light transmitter, when I press this button to fire off the flash, watch those red lights. Now you're going to see kind of weird lines probably happen in the video. You might even see my face light up a little bit more. But don't focus on any of that stuff. Just kind of look at those lights and see when they come back. Okay? So let me go ahead and get that started right now. We'll fire off one. They'll probably both be pretty quick right out of the gate, just so you know. But kind of watch how it happens as I continue to fire these off. And to give you an idea, both of these flashes are set to 1/8 power. Okay, which is probably a fairly common amount of power when you're doing a portrait shoot. You may even be using less power. You may even be using more if you have to light up the scene even more. But we're going to do 1/8 just so we have quick enough recycle times. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to keep firing these off. And you can see here that the one furthest from me is not able to keep up as well as the one closest to me. Okay. And so that just shows that the battery is taking a little bit more time to pull out the power that's available, put it back in the flash, and have it actually ready to go off. Okay. And that is the amazing thing about lithium ion batteries, is they're just always ready to go. And really, they also charge incredibly fast. Me charging a drone battery takes always less than a couple of hours. You know, charging these batteries, the company claims, and I'm able to verify, from dead to fully charged takes about 1.6 hours. So that's about 96 minutes. And to be honest, my experience, it seems like it charges even a little bit faster than that. So maybe it's just faster because they're basically brand new, but they do charge pretty quick. And when you buy a package of 4, when you get these batteries, you actually get a charging cable with it. Instead of like a little box to put them into, you got to hook them onto the wall and things like that. It comes with a USB-A to 4 micro USBs, okay? Which is pretty dang cool. Which also means if you lose this cable, or if you're traveling and you forget about it, or anything like that, if it gets damaged, you could always buy another micro USB cable. Now, you'll probably want to order from them or find someone else who does the 1 to 4, but at the very least, you can always plug in 1 at a time or plug in 4 different cables. So all you do with these is literally plug them in to the side of these batteries. Kind of boring to watch someone do that. And then we just plug these in right here. I'll just do it my power source. And you'll see they will show green that they are actually charging. And once they're done charging, that blinking will turn off and your batteries are ready to go. And here's the other great thing about lithium ion batteries is I'm putting power into there right now, restoring that. And if I got to get going right now, like, man, it's on the run and gun type of stuff, I could literally unplug those and whatever power is already provided to it, put them in the flash, and it's going to be just as powerful as if they were fully charged. That's the really great thing about them. Now, these are actually charging relatively quick. Like, some of the lights are already turning off because these are slightly used. But you kind of get an idea of how that works. So if you ever are interested in finding a battery that's very reliable, incredibly powerful, you probably wouldn't do too bad by grabbing you a box of these. I think you have to order straight from their website. Just so everybody knows, I am not being paid to do this. I'm not looking for any type of promotional thing. I'm not looking for a thanks from them or anything like that. I just like the idea of helping keeping some things out of the landfill. I also like the idea of having something that I feel is probably the future of these types of batteries, and that is being able to use lithium ion. They're more powerful. They recharge a lot quicker, and also you can get a lot of life out of them. They do claim upwards of around 1,000 charges. And even if you only get 100 charges out of that, I mean, when you think about it being only $6, that's pretty cheap. I mean, that is 6 cents per battery when all said and done, as opposed to buying these on a regular basis and then having to throw those away. So it's pretty great. So I can keep these in my camera bag. Even if I don't have my cable with me, I always have a cable somewhere nearby that I can find to plug those in and go. So I hope that gave you a little bit of something to kind of look into and maybe consider. Maybe wait till the technology gets a little bit more ironed out. I'm not really sure. I'm always a little hesitant putting new stuff into my camera equipment, but I've kind of put it through the ringer. I've tested with a lot of other stuff, and I've been really happy with these. I'm also happy with these performances. Unfortunately, just these rechargeables, that 1.2 volt, unfortunately, really it just doesn't work as well as if you're going to use a regular alkaline AA battery or use some other lithium ion, whether it be the Energizer brand, which is disposable, which unfortunately you should get, take it to a facility that can dispose of those, or these rechargeable ones. So let me know what you think in the comments. If there's anything you would like to hear about or have any questions on, I do have a lot of kind of cool gadgets that I'd be more than happy to kind of discuss and give some insight to. And I'll try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. So thank you very much.